I was thinking about what transpired last night, aside from the fact that every time I read one of these scripts, it feels like an SNL script that has been erroneously loaded into the prompter. The real winners and losers weren't in the cage. The winners were sitting outside of the cage, enjoying the many benefits that come from being proximate to this president. And the losers were us at home who don't even have a Paramount Plus account with which to watch the match. What did you think of last night's spectacle?
Yeah, I think you got it exactly right. You know, it's easy to say that the winner was Donald Trump because of all of the grift and the corruption around him and his family. But I think that actually misses the other set of winners, which were, like you said, the people who have made deals with Donald Trump, the people who have sold out their dignity and their self-respect for Donald Trump, the people who were, as you point out, in close proximity to him last night and who have paid to be in close proximity to him throughout his second term in office. And, you know, and these are among the most powerful and richest people already in the country, who are just, you know, grabbing with both hands everything they possibly can get. So it was a disgusting spectacle. It was a disgusting spectacle on the 250th anniversary celebration. But it is a symptom of the rot that we see in so many aspects of the corporate and the business community, that this is how they are reacting.
And Laura Barron Lopez has some of that reporting. Laura, you've been digging into just how much money this event made the president and his family and his allies. What did you find?
So in addition to what you laid out, Alicia, including that stock purchase of UFC's parent company, TKO Group, that the president made earlier this year that was disclosed in May financial disclosures. In addition to that, the president also around this event was selling a coin in collaboration with UFC that was going from $250 to $12,000 and also held that $1 million per plate fundraiser for his super PAC. But with that coin, profits are going to go to the president's licensing company. So in addition to the stock trades, in addition to the coin, there's also the fact that UFC itself received some reciprocal benefit from the president, because all around this event, UFC also inked a deal with the State Department for millions of dollars. So they are going to be getting money from the federal government, from Trump's government. And again, when we've asked the White House repeatedly how these are not conflicts of interest, why these decisions are being made, why the White House believes that this is appropriate, we also asked about what you highlighted today, which is that UFC announcing that bonuses to fighters are going to be made in the form of cryptocurrency from the president's business, World Liberty Financial. And again, the White House doesn't address any of those questions directly. Instead, the spokesperson, Davis Ingalls, sent me a response saying that, quote, the fake news continued attempts to fabricate conflicts of interest and are responsible and reinforce the public's distrust in what they read. So defending the president's decision, saying that he was overwhelmingly reelected despite false accusations against him and his business, claiming, again, the White House is claiming that there are, quote, no conflicts of interest. But you talk to historians, you talk to lawyers like Mark, you talk to former ethics czars who previously worked in prior administrations, and they have called these conflicts of interest in very clear ways that the president, his family, and his allies are enriching themselves using the People's House as a backdrop, using the power of the presidency to do so.
Right, just because the conflicts of interest happen in broad daylight, just because the corruption happens in public, it doesn't make it not what it is.
No, it makes it worse. It makes it worse because this is a pay-to-play president. I mean, it's straight up pay-to-play. Show me your loyalty to me, then we'll see Brendan Carr from the Federal Communications Commission come out and be very favorable to your merger. Show your loyalty to me or not, and I may make sure that the federal government does not help you with whatever regulatory oversight problem you have or whatever business dealings you want to have to do with the government. I'm saying this because, you know, to Laura's great reporting, what we're really talking about here is this is a president who created a whole line, a new line of business when he became president, because he was going to be able to set policy over cryptocurrency. This is not an accident. And in fact, one of the things we forget is how in the first Trump administration, he was supposed to create a blind trust so he wouldn't know what his businesses were doing. That's what we all asked for. That's what everybody asked for, because that's the normal thing to do, to be in compliance with conflicts and to be have some loyalty to the country and to the emoluments clause. Instead, he said, I won't have anything to do with it, but I won't be blind. I'll be able to see what's going on. Now, he's completely unleashed. Now, it's like, I'm literally going to send my children and my son-in-law to do foreign mediation while they can do deals, including with sovereign funds. It's rampant. And I will add one last thing, just to note how crazy this is and how upset we should be. Clemency. Who's getting clemency from this administration? Who's getting pardoned? Well, we've had 70 fraudsters, according to May reporting from the New York Times. 70 fraudsters, some of them quite wealthy. All of them should concern us, because there's a reason that over half of those getting presidential pardons are people who are committing white-collar crimes, including fraud, bilking the taxpayer, stealing from us.
Mark Elias, I want to bring to your attention what the White House has had to say about all of this. You heard the statement that Laura read, but they also, when asked by MS Now about profits from the UFC event, a White House official said, quote, "The federal government is not making any money on this event." Quite the framing there, Mark Elias.
Yeah, right. I mean, that in some ways we should frame that literally and put it on the wall, right? Like, the taxpayers are not making any money. The federal government's not making any money. No. Donald Trump's making money. Donald Trump's family's making money. Donald Trump's cronies are making money. The advertisers, it shouldn't go without noticing that there were all of these advertisements all throughout this spectacle of private companies. I hope the consumers take note of who advertised and treat those businesses accordingly. Paramount, they're making money, right? Because as you point out, they had the rights to this on their streaming service, and that's the outlet that David Ellison just got approval for a merger from the Trump administration. That has been, that also owns CBS News, and you've seen what's happened there. Right, everybody's making money around Donald Trump. The only people getting screwed, the only one not making money, the federal taxpayers.
Yeah, folks are feeling that. They don't need us to tell them that. Laura, one of the biggest guests, Skydance CEO David Ellison, after he just got a huge win from Trump DOJ, talk about just how lucrative this has been for him, this relationship.
Right. So right before this UFC cage match on the South Lawn, the Justice Department decided that it was not going to challenge that $111 billion merger with Warner Bros. Discovery. So that was basically the last obstacle that they were facing. A big win for David Ellison as the CEO. And again, it means, I just want to get this right, that he is going to be in charge of two film companies, Hollywood film companies. He will be a pair of streaming services, including HBO Max, and two major television news platforms, CBS News and CNN. Now, just to bring it a bit full circle, he also controls the broadcasting rights to the UFC. So again, and as you know, and we've been talking about, this was streaming. The UFC fight was streaming some exclusively on Paramount Plus. So those are ways that David Ellison, again, a longtime Trump ally, it stands to benefit from the decisions made by the president's own Justice Department.
Mark Elias, what kind of power comes with two film studios, two streaming services, and two major TV news platforms?
Yeah, so first of all, Steve Bannon, his mentor, Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, once said that politics is downstream of culture. So being able to control entertainment assets is real power in this country, a country where what movies get made, what movies don't get made, can influence the way people view history, the way they view politics. But I want to focus particularly on the CBS and CNN control. look, we've already seen what David Ellison's been willing to do to make nice with Donald Trump with CBS News, right? They, under the prior ownership, in order to make the deal possible, they paid $16 million to settle a completely nonsensical lawsuit. He put Barry Weiss in charge of CBS News. She has put her imprint, to put it politely, on the nightly news. And most recently, we saw her take a wrecking ball to 60 Minutes. And now, we're going to have the same thing with CNN. And look, Donald Trump doesn't give a crap who owns these movie studios. He does care what goes on the air on TV news stations, which is why, Alicia, I want to welcome you to your first inaugural show, because you're exactly the kind of journalism we need in this time. But, he's going to take aim at CNN now, and David Ellison, I suspect, is going to give him what he wants, because David Ellison wants to make money on movies and theme parks.
I think so much, Maya, about the Humpty Dumpty of this all, which is breaking it is the easy part. Putting it back together is going to be much harder to sort of flip that on its head. Once you have these types of mergers, how hard is it to then go and break them up?
It's extremely hard. And it's why we have to start thinking about alternative ways of having true free access to sharing information that is accurate, credible, and also neutral. I mean, Mark beat me to the punch on congratulating you on this show, Alicia. But it's also true, right? We need more places where people can have trusted information that's neutral. And one of the opportunities we have, by the way, is to vote and to create the opportunity to ensure that we're getting policies that go back to, for instance, when Congress in 2004 said, no one should own more than 39% of, So we had guardrails. We have broken them. We can rebuild. And we can also use the ways we have new tech platforms to do that.